So this is an example of one of a design that I've made, and these are earrings. So this is something that is very, very advanced as far as like the beadwork and the design goes, because like to be able to like get these points here, it has to line up exactly right. So once you learn how to do these, this is a very simple pattern. It looks intricate, but it's not very, it's really easy pattern to follow. So this is so once you learn how to do this basic round stitch beading, you can do really elaborate things like these. This is other examples of applique beadwork. This is like their flowers. So this is all the same stitch. It just depends on what you're planning to make. So you can, so like I just pulled a couple examples of things that I've had laying around that I still have to edge them. These are going to be earrings eventually if I ever finish them. Here's another example of a rosette pattern. So this is the same as these two items, just the difference is the beadwork in the design. So you can see this is like one bead on top of two to make that point. And then here it's just one bead. So it's like one solid row and then an alternating row. So then you don't really get this peak, but it's the same thing. So that's another variation of design. I pulled these ones out. So this is another example of applique stitch that I bought the earrings. These are just centerpieces. So so you can also like bead around a centerpiece. I don't know if you guys are on Facebook or Instagram or something or anything, if you see people selling their beadwork on there. I love to see what other people are doing too. So when they post their stuff, it's really cool. So we'll go over does anyone have any questions really quick? So before we start moving on. And if you want, you can unmute yourself if you have anything. Otherwise we can, I don't know about the chat, but I don't think I can see it.
You have a question?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So once we get started, can we play some soft flute music or in the background?
Sure.
Is that possible, or would it interfere?
We can give it a shot.
Okay.
I have my phone. I have Spotify on my phone.
Yeah, if we do, it's probably better if she puts it on. Otherwise, it might try to pin the video somewhere else with the noise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
I'll try to play some mood music. Get us all in the mood.
Yeah.
So we'll go through the kit. So you all received to make this piece, you all received the beads. You got the basic 4 direction or the fire colors, the red, orange, yellow, and then the black, blue, and white. So you can make it exactly how I did this, or if you want to switch up the colors, if you want it to be black in the center, fade to white, that's all up to you. All of those things are your choice. Or even if you don't want to use red or whatever, you can kind of, you know, this design is kind of you can make it look however you want it to look.
And give us a plate.
So this is a preference. I like to use a dish. I prefer these ceramic little dishes, and they're not too deep. They're kind of just a shallow little dish. I don't know what they're made for, but I use them for beading. And then but you also can use a beading mat. So when you put your beads out on this, because it's felt, you'll prevent your beads from rolling around. So this is another thing people like to use. You can use that.
Like that.
And everyone did receive a bead mat?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So that's, yep. So or even if you have like sometimes that we use like a plastic plate or a paper plate or something. The only thing I don't really prefer to use is something like that has like it's kind of maybe like a styrofoam, because when you're trying to pick up your needles or you're trying to pick up your beads with your needle, you can poke the plate and then it pops and your beads go everywhere. So you want to try to get something that doesn't have any that your needle won't go through, stick into.
Why do I need a phone?
Okay, so, you got, so this is beeswax. You got a little bit of this. This is for your thread to keep it from tangling. And I just noticed my cat scratched me. I was like, I didn't think he got me that good, but he got me pretty good. And then, so this is the thread. The thread that we are using is called nylon thread. The size is D thread, which is a thicker thread.
It's not gonna work.
Different, there are different types of thread, different sizes, and then different materials. Like for sewing thread is more of a cotton thread. So you don't want to use, for beading, you don't want to use a cotton thread because it can break really easily, and so you need something that's a little bit more stronger than sewing thread. So I prefer this nylon thread. I know some people who use like fishing line or other kinds of thread, but this is here. This is a big cone. I use these ones. So the brand is Nymo white, and then this is size D. So I also can show you the difference with, this is another cone that I use, and this is a size B, Nymo white. This is thinner. I use it when I do really tiny beadwork, like using small beads, and I have an example. Like this is an example. These are really small beads. This is a size 13 cut glass bead. And these are produced in, they're Czech beads. They're produced in Czechoslovakia and they're imported here to, for us to use. Another example, here's another example of something that I made. So I got these mirrors and then beading around the mirrors. So these are all 13 beads, which require smaller, skinnier needles and thinner thread in order to be able to pass the needle and thread through the bead multiple times. So those are just examples. And then when you use like the tinier beads, you can get something that's really small. So this is an earring that I made. Obviously, I mean, it's not edged yet, so it's unfinished. That's why it's still in a little drawer. But something like this. So this is this stitch is the same as this. Once you get really good at, I like it, the spiral. It's like hypnotize. You're all gonna say hypnotize you into good beaters. Just kidding. So yeah, so depending on like how much time you want to spend and how much practice you put into this, like you can get really creative and do some really cool stuff. So that's with the beads. So the needles you have, where did I put it? Oh, here we go. So these needles are shorter. These are good for stitching. And you can tell that they're short. I will show you examples of other needles that I have. I put all my needles in here. It's like scary danger. Poke your finger, stick your finger in there. A lot of stuff I have is booby traps. So people, if you go through my stuff, you might get poked with a needle. So this is an example of a longer needle that is more of like beading for bead weaving, like the daisy chains you mentioned earlier. So this is something to that's longer, that's good for doing fringe, bead weaving, making long earrings. Let's see. I have an example. Here is an example of a long fringe earring that you would use these needles for. And then these are like bugle beads. These are size, I think these are size 2 or size 3. I can't remember which one, but they're a little bit shorter. And this is a basic like brick stitch earring. These ones are hard because the bugles are sharp on the edges. So if you're not careful and you pull the thread in a wrong way, it will like cut the thread like a scissor and then you have to start over. So I like them, but I don't like to make them because they're a lot of work. But that's what these needles are good for, the bead weaving and fringes and stuff. But today we're going to be using these shorter needles. They're called sharps. They're the John James is the producer or the brand name of the needles that I like. And they range from, it's kind of funny the way that they are. Hold on, sorry. So, it's kind of the way that needles are numbered are the thinner the needle, the higher the number. So if you're using like a sharp size 11 and then you have sharp size 12, the 12 is going to be skinnier than the 11. So if you're using smaller beads, you need a higher number needle. And the same with the beads, how they're numbered right today. So we're using, these beads are sorry, hold on. Gee whiz, can you guys see all my crazy text messages on here?
Yes.
So what was it? So the beads we're using are size 12. And then so the bigger the number, the smaller the bead. So these are size 11s, sorry. So then there's size 12 beads, which are a little bit smaller. And then there's also size 13 beads that are really small. And these are this one, what I was showing you before. And yeah, so does anyone have any questions while I silence my other phone? Any questions, anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Just kidding. Okay. So today, I also have this little bobbin of black nylon thread. So it's the same brand, same everything, except it's just black, not white. So I wanted to use that today to show, so you could see the string better while I'm doing the what do you call it? The beading, I guess. I don't know. So to start with your thread, because it's kind of coiled, you want to pull the thread out and then be able to like kind of pull it tight because it's going to be coiled. See how when it comes off, how coiled up it is. So in order to prevent it from tangling and creating knots, you want to pull on the string so that some of that coil comes out, and that's when you get your wax too. And then you can just run your thread across the wax, and you don't need to do it more than once. I usually will hold it and then I'll do one piece and then I'll flip it around and then I'll do the rest of the string like that. So then, however you find a way to thread your needle, so you have your needles, and then there's a tiny, tiny eye on the needle. I don't know if you guys can like, I don't know if the camera is going to be able to pick this up really good, but I'll show you. This is how I've learned to do it really fast, quickly. So I'll pull the thread like right between my fingers, and then I'll pinch it just so you can see the tip of the thread, like that little black dot right there. Then you find the eye of the needle, and then I just push it where that hole is. I push the eye of the needle onto that black dot. Do you guys see that? Or should I do it again? You can unmute and tell me, because otherwise I'm just gonna be talking to myself.
Can you do it, please? Can you do it again, please?
I can show you again, yep. So can you see it? Can you see this?
Sorta.
Sort of. So you see where the needle, see where that thread is right
See the
there?
needle right there? You have the thread. See her thread?
Yeah.
And she's got her needle right there. Yep.
Yep.
Now
So
watch.
that thread, that black thread.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird watching my hands on a screen and not looking down.
Don't poke yourself now.
So I pinch my fingers together so that you can just see the very top of that very skinny thread. So it's just like a little dot between my fingers. Do you see it?
Yep.
Okay.
Let me
So then
see
you
it.
find the eye of the needle, and then you line it up where that black dot is, or yours would be a white dot where the thread is. And then you just push the eye of the needle down onto it. So I can,
Hey, Deanna, how
yeah.
much string are we supposed to get? Like, are we supposed to just keep it connected to this neck thing?
So
Or
when I do my string, especially because we're just starting, like I would do like a wingspan, not more than one pull. Like, so if you're holding it and then you pull it and then it pulls once.
all right, let me see here.
Because you don't want too much string.
Right,
That's another thing that can be difficult, especially if you're just learning how to bead, is if your string is too long, you can have a lot of difficulty like pulling with knots and tangles and getting things, you end up having a lot too much string.
And do you have to wax the whole thing, or what? This wax
Just the
thingy?
piece you're using.
So about this much? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So just pull one wingspan, just pull it from one end to the other, just however long your arms are. And then cut it. And then when you do your wax, I grab it from maybe, I don't know, what is that, like 6 inches? And then I hold it here, and then I just pull that 6 inches, and then I flip it, and then I do the rest of it. So that's how you know you're getting all of the string. So however long
Nasty.
however long your wingspan is. But yeah, we're not doing something where you need a ton of thread, because it's not going to be like we're going to be able to tie knots on here, and then we're going to be able to like start new thread easily. So you don't have to worry too much about not having enough thread, because if you start to run out of thread, you can just tie a knot and start a new line. So yeah, that's a good question.
Oh, geez. All right, so, I don't want to do that. Okay. Am I unmuted or am I muted?
You're unmuted.
Okay. I don't know if my daughter did it. Okay. So, oh, geez, I keep pulling it. Shh, Karen. Sorry, I got my nephew over here being loud.
No, he's
All right.
not.
Does this look good then? Do we have to, we don't have to tie it, right? It just hangs like that?
Yep.
Is
So
it
once
easy?
you get your thread, your needle threaded, now it's splitting.
You guys, we're unmuted right
So
now.
once you get it threaded, we're gonna be doing single thread, not double thread. So you just kind of, I usually will pull the tail down, and then it's kind of like about this far, like maybe 6 or 8 inches away from the end, and
Okay.
then we're gonna tie a knot in the thread. Move all this stuff. Move the stuff.
So it's 6 to 8.
Okay.
And then,
So
okay.
this is the way that I found to tie knots, and I
want you to do yours now.
What do you mean? That's yours.
This is my, I want you to actually practice, okay?
Okay, what do you do?
So I use my needle to pull it through. So it's just a basic knot. You just make a loop and then put the end through.
So the tip should there, and I need
Also kind of like sewing then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I usually will do 3 knots, and
I need
to keep the knot in the same place. It'll stay in the same place as long as you don't move this hand.
Okay.
So keep the thread in the same spot when you're holding it.
I'm gonna make sure I get my thread right first, and then I'll.
And then when you make this, it'll pull right into the same spot. But don't. So just make sure you don't move this hand. Make sure when you're doing your knots, all of the tying is happening on this end, and then it'll stay in the same spot. That took me a really long time to figure out that that's why my knots were all over the place.
Yep.
Nobody told me that. I wish somebody would have told me that.
Now you can cut it.
Okay. So I'll give people. Do people need a couple minutes to get up to get their needles threaded and stuff?
Yeah, me, I do.
Okay. I can do another demonstration if you need it. Sometimes, I mean, they do have like those threader, they're like threader machines. I don't know what they're called. Like they're like the little thing that you can stick it through the eye and then pull the thread out or pull the thread through. Those work for sewing needles, but they do not work for beading needles because the eye of the needle is too small. So there's really no other solution to easy threading. You just kind of got to get good at it.
No.
Don't do anything right now. Just I want to help you and make sure you get it right, but I gotta make sure I'm doing it right
What are you
first
guys doing?
before it's finished. Yeah.
Why are you guys stacking?
Yay! I think I got it.
Why are you guys stacking?
Yeah.
It's not as complicated as I thought. Sweet.
Yeah. So yeah. Once you get good at beading and stuff, doing like the things like threading needles, tying knots, starting new threads, and all of that stuff is like, you know, it ends up taking time. So the quicker you can get your beading threaded, your needle threaded, and the quicker you are at doing some of those things, the less time you'll spend you know, doing it, and more time will be spent actually doing the beading, which is the fun part, right?
Everyone give a thumbs up if you're good, and we just want to make sure it was at the same point before we continue.
I'll have to speak up. I'm having a really hard time. I can't even do it.
Okay, where are we at?
Let's try to push it through the, I can't even push the thread through the needle.
Oh no.
So one thing, what is how, like, what are you having the most trouble with? Is it able to see it, or
Oh, you gotta pull that thread more. I'm sorry, I'll mute us, sorry.
Yeah, I think it's hand-eye coordination as well as just like, I mean, like when it's just not working, like it's like the eye just doesn't even seem like it's big enough for the thread to go through for me.
Yeah, I have a suggestion. Cut your thread at an angle.
Yep.
So that way it's like kind of like it's slanted, the thread, and then lick it so that the thread strands are together. Because that can be a hard point because the eyes are really, really small.
Yeah.
Or
So
use
what you can
use
do
wax.
is you can use your wax and then put more wax on the end there, on the end of your thread, and then get your scissors and then cut it at an angle like that. See how now it's it's pointed, and then you can twist it. So then you can twist the thread so that it's so it almost has a lot of it's not as flimsy. It's almost because of that wax, when you use wax to kind of reinforce that thread, and then you cut it at an angle, and then so it creates that really nice point to the thread, and then you can kind of twist it to get it to have even more like durability. And then you can you see that? Trying to like do it in a way that you're not, okay, how is that? So once you can, oh man, it's really hard not to do it that way. So this is the way I do it, and it works every time. I like pull the needle or pull the thread really close between my fingers, and then you just like push the needle eye down on it like that. But yeah, the other things to do, so trying to, because when I look down, it looks good, but then I look ahead and I was like, okay, wait, that's not right. So you can, there it goes. So once you kind of get it in there, you can pull it. Sometimes even if you can just get a little bit of it through, then it'll split because it's cut at an angle, so it will split. You see that? How it split? As long as you can pull the thread that is in there, you can usually just pull it past that split, and then it's on. Does that help? And then you can just twist that back together, and that split goes away. See. Hold on. Oh. Trying to figure out how to do this light so there's not a shadow. Okay, let's see. How about this? Nope. Nope. Bead class. Here comes Renee.
Where's your camera?
It's right here.
Oh.
My mom's in here, everybody. This is Renee. She also works at the clinic.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you shouldn't have come in my room.
Hi everybody. I'm eating at something, so
yeah,
forgive me.
This is my mom, Renee. She also works at the clinic. She's elder in residence. She's also an elder in my residence.
I'm getting out of here.
Don't come in here no more. So how are people doing with this needle thing? It's really
I see one thumbs up. How about other
The
people?
needle. I'm just waiting for the next one. Like, what do we do next?
okay. So did you get your so once you get your needle threaded, and then you tie your knot in the end, then you're ready. That's just getting your needle ready, your needle thread ready. And then
If you don't want to speak up, you know, you're too shy, at least throw it in the chat if you're at this point and you're ready to go on. We don't want to move on if everyone's not ready.
Are you on mute? Did you mute us then?
I'm
No.
this.
I finally got it through the thread through the eye, and so now I'm stuck with the knot. So I just tie a knot, right? That's it?
Yep. Yeah, sometimes like I'll tie a knot and then I'll go like once around and then once around again. I like to use the needle to pull pull that knot through because but I mean you can make that loop as big as you want it if you want to make it bigger so that you can actually physically go in there and pull that thread. You can pull that however you like it. So
I have a question.
yeah.
So now do we poke the needle through the white thing
Yep.
in
I
the
just-
middle?
Yep.
Okay. I'll give my mom that too. I think she thinks she's messed up. She made 3 loops on hers.
Oops.
Yeah.
And the
Did she
thread?
mess? Yeah.
Okay.
Did she mess up?
Well, there should only be you should have 2, like one single thread and then your tail. And so what happens is when we're beading, we start to use up this thread because that's what's going to hold our beads in place. So then this side of the thread starts to get shorter. So you actually start moving your needle down the thread. So it's only single thread, not double.
My needle's kind of trapped in my knot.
Okay. Yeah, if you need to, you might have to cut your thread where your needle is stuck at, and then just cut it if if the knot is tied around the needle. Sometimes you can cut it at the needle at the base, cut the thread, free the needle, and then put it on a new string.
In the middle. Oops. Not in the middle.
So we'll start the next part.
Told me that you to lose, kid.
Shut up, Anna. I didn't
So
ask you.
so this stabilizer, there is like a fused layer to the top of this, and you can put this is the top and then this is the bottom. So you start your stitches from the bottom.
I'm not that far yet.
Okay.
Stop.
Is the fuzzy part the top or the bottom?
The bottom. So if you want, you can draw like you can draw on here.
I did.
Where like make kind of like an exaggerated X, so then you know where the middle is, and that's your midpoint. I usually just eyeball it. It doesn't have to be exactly in the center. but you want it to be as close to the center as possible when you're
Is
first.
this good?
Yeah, looks good.
Okay. I know, because I messed up in the middle.
Libby.
Yeah,
My hand's ready.
You took out.
Ready up here. Daddy, I'm gonna take a picture.
Okay, so we're gonna start with the first stitch, which is approximately in the center, as much as you can get it in the center. Can everyone see this? So everything's in focus. Everything looks good. It might be a little bit difficult to see these white beads in my dish. If you want, I can start. How about I do this? I'll start with a different color. I'll start with a red in the center, so that you can see it a little bit better than the white. You can start with any color you want.
Can you scroll down, because I don't have my beads on yet?
Okay.
Has everyone got their needle through the cloth?
Yeah.
Yep. So with your when you're getting your beads out,
Wait.
One thing you want to do is to put out just enough, just what you're going to use in your dish in case it spills. If you the less beads you have in your dish, the less will spill out, and the less you'll have to pick up. It's like these days I don't even pick beads up anymore. I just leave them on the floor. I used to go through and pick them all up when I was in my youth, and I wanted to spend time doing that, but I don't do that. I don't spend time doing that anymore. So I try to spill out just enough of what I think I'm going to need for the time that for what I'm working on. So opening your baggie, you can kind of just pinch and hold it, and then shake out what you want, and then keep the rest back in, and then just seal it back up. It's nice that they're already loose in a bag, because otherwise, and I don't know if you guys have hanks. I'll show you really quickly on a hank of like how to get the strands off the hank. I have a hank here. That's the same.
My stepmom's friend's son's name Hank.
Oh yeah, that's a good name.
New baby Hank in the family.
Awesome. So what you do is you just grab your strand, and then you pull the beads away from the knot on top, and then you hold the knot, and then you hold the beads, and then you pull, and then the thread will come up.
The beads on the plate now. And I asked her if yours was right. She said it should be two.
So one thing that I do too, like if your beads aren't loose and you only want to say you're going to make something small and you're not going to use a whole strand of beads, I'll just pull off what I know that I'll need, and then I tie a knot around the bead so that the beads don't come off the rest of the ink. So that way I can preserve as much beads to remain on the hank as possible.
I don't think I tied it right. No, it's getting stuck already.
So mine does too.
Well, yours looks good though. Yours is.
Because I'll go get Darius to ask him to pull yours up. Okay,
I got it. No, it's okay.
I got my beads. Okay.
I just think I didn't do it right.
Okay. So how is everybody doing? Where is everybody at? Are we good? Are we ready to sew?
I'm in my show.
So. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we're in a living room. I mean,
she said, "Where's everybody?" Where you at with your process, baby girl?
I helped my mom with what we had done when she was upstairs.
Okay. All right.
So can everyone give us a thumbs up that's ready, that's got their needle through the fabric?
Mhm. Thumbs up. I seen one.
I see
It's really
two.
funny having
I
this
see
light
three.
on.
I'm still
Four.
picking out my beads.
Teresa, how
Okay.
you doing?
You
Good?
only need one. You only need to start with one color. Whatever your color is going to be in your center, you can just start with one color until you're ready to start adding more colors.
Heather, where you at? Are you okay? Good. Ruth? Perfect. Nick,
I got
Karen,
one too.
Cassandra? Good. I think we're okay to move on.
Yep.
All right. No going back now. Just kidding.
No, go back.
You're good. Just you focus on you. I'll
So,
Okay, now do I poke my beads through my needle?
yep, poke your needle through the center, in the middle,
Yep.
and then once you get your string pulled tight and that knot is in the back, you can go in and find whatever color you're gonna put in the center.
My knot's not on the back.
you gotta ask her, babe. She's here to help you. Mom's kind of still trying to catch up.
I don't have a knot.
Oh, she's muted. Are you still working on a knot? So I can show the knot again really fast.
So,
Look, she's showing you right now how to knot it, babe.
oh, okay.
Do you know how to tie your shoes, right?
Yeah.
And you just make a circle, make a loop like that, make a little circle. See how this end is sticking out?
Yep.
You push it to the back, and then you go through
I
the.
have to make my hole.
Hmm?
Someone called my mom and I had to decline it.
Yep. So there's your little knot right there. You
1
just-
second. I'm catching up. I just have to make my knot.
You're doing good, babe.
I know, 'cause I didn't eat it before.
Are you being naughty? Haha, get it?
Now I'm being good.
That's me. I got
It's my favorite bead pun. The other one is when I talk about beeswax, is mind your own beeswax. Or like Nunya. Nunya beeswax.
Yeah.
Yep.
My favorite joke is knock knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Banana split.
That's a good one.
Well, why did the chicken cross the road?
To get to the other side?
Yeah.
She says, yeah.
I'm still trying to get my.
Okay, so once you get your once you go through the center and you got your knot, and then you pick up one bead. If you're following the pattern, this guy.
I'm still trying to get my knot.
Are we?
I'm still trying to get my knot at the end.
So you guys, so it's easier to see on the screen. I'm gonna use red, but on the pattern it's white. So that white center bead, you pick that up and then see how where I'm coming out at that black thread, and then the needle is where I'm going down. So you push your needle through and then you pull it through.
I'm gonna make a knot.
You got it. So that's how much she needs then?
Put out the pic.
For it to go through?
Camera.
Right?
Put out the camera.
I'm trying to. I'm new to this. Okay.
So when you.
So maybe right here?
Yep. So you can see how the thread is. You can see the black thread, right? So then that red bead is the bead I picked up, and then you stitch next to it, and then you pull that bead on there.
Oh,
So now that's your center bead. Okay. In the picture, it's this one.
1 second.
White one.
And
So then this is what it looks like on the back. So you have your knot, and then you have your first stitch is this where your thread's coming out right here.
Did you do your knot?
no. I said I need help with
I know, I was trying to do it and you took it from me.
No, I didn't. I didn't take it from you. You gave it to me.
So this tail needs to be knotted, right? Is that what she said?
I don't know.
Yep, you gotta
Yep.
put a knot in your tail.
Here we go. See?
So
It's okay. You're getting there, babe.
I'm not mad. I'm breathing.
so you can you guys kind of see these little dots here? Like, cause I already practiced and started with this, and then I cut it and took it out. But you can see where my you can see the stitches that I was using before. So when you're coming out here, you go to the side, and it doesn't really matter where around the circle. Just kind of pick a spot so that you're coming up approximately in that this spot. Can you everybody see that?
Can you please slow down?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, we can go we can come back when you're ready. We can review this too.
Okay.
We're ready.
We got it, yeah? Is that what it's supposed to look like?
I can't really tell from here. Yeah, that looks good.
Okay. Now you can.
But make sure that your it's a single thread, not double. Make sure that it's not that when you have your tail for your thread here, that this comes out, and so it's not getting stitched in the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it?
Bead on.
All right. Let me get caught up to you guys.
So the next thing, so doing this first row around the center bead, you want to find skinny beads. See what I mean by skinny beads versus fat beads?
I got it.
There you go.
And now I have to get it
You
back
can't
to
really
you.
tell that on the camera. Can you guys kind of see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
When you're looking at your beads, there's kind of thicker, fatter ones, and then there's skinnier ones. Grab
Yeah.
4 skinny ones.
Why can
Get one skinny one.
And if you can't find them, don't worry about it. Just grab 4 red beads, and I'll show you how to compensate if you don't do all the skinny ones. I can't really show it on camera. It's not good enough.
Maybe.
So once you got your 4 beads, oh, and then another technique for picking up beads is to use the tip of your needle and then touch the edge of the bead where the hole is, and then push down on it, and the bead will roll up onto your needle. Can you guys see that? Is it focusing? You guys can see that?
That's what I'm doing.
See,
I'm putting down on the needle. And I'm
just
putting down on the bead.
touch. If you lightly touch the edge of the bead, it'll roll up on your needle.
Yep, I see that. Yep.
Like this, Mama.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I know.
There you
How
A
to do it.
lot of times when people are beading, I see them kind of going in, like diving in with the needle, and then it's hard to pick them up that way. So instead of kind of going in, you just kind of go in, like you can tip your beads on an axis.
Okay, ready? So you know.
I need some beads.
And then touch the bead, and it rolls on to the needle. You don't have to. You're not chasing the beads around the plate. I know this is if you're using a plate. If you're using your mat, it's a little bit different, but you can still do, if your beads are on a mat, you can still use that same technique to pick up beads easier.
I'm chasing my beads because I'm using a plate.
Yeah.
We're
Sometimes you always end up chasing something around.
Yeah. That's all when I made my daisy necklace.
Yeah.
I'll show you some picture on.
So when you have your 4 beads on,
So I have to mix one more bead. I have to do one more bead, I think.
where you're
Oh,
coming
I'm
up
good. I'm good.
and you go down like directly across. See how this is where your black thread's coming out here? Then directly across the bead on the other side, that's your stitch down. So you put your needle through there.
Like this?
Yeah, like see how mine looks?
1 second. I have to get closer. Yeah, a little bit.
So once you get that part, you pull it down and then the beads will lay in a half circle around that center bead. If they don't lay exactly, they kind of pop up a little bit. Let's see if you can see that. See how they kind of pop up off the surface there?
Oh no, my beads fell off.
So once you get that point, this is all based on like the stitches. And that knot, because I did it so much, is super fat. But so when you're looking at the back, this is where you came up. So where you're coming out at. So this stitch is this one, and then this stitch is this one, where your thread's coming out. Does that make sense? So what you do is you
Start from the bottom.
your next stitch is around the edge.
It's okay. We're just learning, okay?
I'm not. I did this.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to get frustrated. If you want, you can just watch me do this, and then I can take it out and I'll do it again.
There you go, see?
So sometimes it helps just to watch, and then once you can kind of see how it goes, then you can do it.
My mom's helping me.
So once you come up again, you do this. You go through
1 second, I'm getting closer. You can see better.
like that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So when you come back up, you sew through those last 2 beads between so there's 4, right? So that
It's easier to like see it in person, like see the beads.
it's easier to see it in person. We do as best as we can, right? We're gonna get this. We get it. So is this in focus? Can people see this? It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Okay.
Okay, so she's got her 4 beads on the thread like
Now
this.
pull it down. Now pull it down.
So now we just pull the beads down then?
Yep.
Okay. So just like that?
Yep.
And then so what she's gonna do is just, so that's obviously gonna be the beginning. So we flatten the beads. And then, yeah, it's 1 to 4 out. It's 1 to 4. Yeah. So then.
So yep, so I can do it again. So if you got your 4 beads on there like that.
Yep.
You go directly across and you stitch down here.
Okay. Yep.
See that?
You see that, Beth?
So it's almost like
the 4 beads down like this.
If you can imagine in your head, there's a straight line going this way, and then so you're on that same line.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
See
then you push your needle through and then you pull it tight. And so when you pull it tight, that's what your beads look like. They start to crowd. They do like a half circle around that center bead, those 4 beads.
Oh, shoot.
And then
you go right
when
across.
you flip over,
Careful with your finger.
so you wanna stitch halfway here. You see this is where your 4 beads are?
Get it.
Okay.
Can move your finger.
See where my needle's coming up at? Right between those two.
Anastasia, watch your lips.
Right between those 4 beads, there's 2 beads on each side of the needle.
1 second.
Oh, I think we got it.
You think?
I think so.
You think?
I think so, girl. I think so.
Already have an icebreaker.
So then it's supposed to look like this then?
Let's see.
Yup.
Yeah. You see that?
1 second.
Come on.
1 second.
Okay.
So when you
What?
look here, so this is where we started. This was where we came up, and then that's where we went down, and then now this point is where we're coming back up. So once you come back up here, you stitch through those 2 beads going that way.
Here for me. Thank you.
Did you pay attention to what she
No,
said?
because I was putting my icebreaker.
Okay, so once you go up,
Want to go up?
okay, watch
Go
now,
up.
okay?
Go up. Oh my God, Mom, you bended my needle.
And then
Thanks.
I'm gonna mute us then because we're gonna get muted.
all right. Well, just unmute yourself if you need anything else.
Alrighty, thank you.
Anyone else, if you have any questions, just unmute yourself because I can't see anybody. So once you get to this point, it's basically you do it again to finish off the circle. You can pick up your beads. So the thing about this first row, sometimes it's 8. You can get 8 beads around the center. So 2 stitches of 4 beads each. Sometimes it's enough to do that and you can get a full circle. Sometimes it's too many and then you only want to do 7. Like this is 8. You can do it, but you got to get the skinny beads. If your beads are too fat, then do 7 or just 3 on the second one. But it looks like I can get it. So then when you're doing this, you go down where you started. See that? Can people see that? Yep. So see, my needle's going in where we started at. So it's like full circle all the way back to the beginning. You pull it tight. See, now you got 8 beads around the center. So then the same stitch, so when you stitch from behind, you want your needle to come up halfway between those 4 beads. So there's 2 beads on each side. And make sure that you're kind of doing it a little bit on a curve. You don't want to do a straight line, otherwise your beads are going to sit funny. But I'll show you more about that later. Okay. So you pull this through. And then it's the same thing. So once you pull it through, you go through those 2 beads, the last 2 beads you put on, and then you have your first row done. And then just for safe measure, I complete the circle from this first stitch to the second stitch, and then I just go through those next 2 beads. Just because I like it. You don't have to. But I like the way, I like how it sits when you go all the way through. You can pick up those, you can kind of connect the 2 ends together by stitching through all of those beads. So once you're done stitching on the top part, you just go down through one of your stitches that you made from the other side. So now, then you got your first circle done. And this is what your stitches should look like. except mine are getting all dirty because I keep touching them, and then the beeswax makes it dirty. But you should be able to see these two stitches around. And that's how you get it. So we can pause if you guys need to take a break. I don't know if anyone needs a pee break.
Go ahead now, you can ask her.
So now do I poke, because I got my other 4 needles, now do I poke the needle down through the beads?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yep. So you
I
go.
got it like this. Wait for a second. I got it like this.
Yep.
So.
So she goes through all 4 of them or just 2?
No, just the 2.
Just 2, babe.
One.
She's more ahead than I am right now.
One.
Yeah, it might help too. I can draw that.
2. Okay, I got 2 down.
So you can do, so this is your center bead. You got this one. And then you pick up 1, 2, 3. Can you see that?
I think I got it, Mommy.
See what she's showing you, babe?
I got it.
Uh-oh.
No.
That's why you gotta watch. Look, she's trying to show you. You gotta.
And I'm trying to put my bead.
All right. Well, let's move it closer then.
You know what? Because you can.
Yeah. So she can
Okay,
see.
so I got 2 beads on my needle.
Yep. So then you pick up those 4 beads. So when you're coming up, you pick up those 4 beads, and then you stitch down through the material.
The rest of the 2.
Yep. So if you think of it kind of like a clock, when you have your 8 beads around the center.
Okay, so I got my 4 beads on.
Yep. So stitch down halfway across.
To the other side.
Yep. So you got like 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
Oh, it's okay. Beads.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you pick up your 4 beads, you stitch down and then you go back and you go forward.
I did it.
Does it look like that?
So, yeah. Oh, it's just standing up.
Sure.
So this is what mine looks like.
It's hard to see. I can't really see that. It's all blurred out.
Oh.
Do you want to, oh yeah, that looks okay. Do you have a bead in the center? I don't really see a bead in the center.
Let me try to paint it in.
Hear how we started with 1 bead?
I can't really see my. I think I have a center bead. Do I have a center bead?
No, you already started with 4 right away. You're supposed to start with 1.
So let's start again. I'll show you how to do this again. I'll just do it right here.
See, she's showing you. It's okay.
Yeah, but then
It's okay. Can we take a, we'll have, somebody would like a 5-minute break. And
Yep.
so if,
I'm gonna take a 5-minute break.
yes.
Go outside.
It's okay.
So Mom, maybe if you can work on it and then you can help her along.
Yeah.
If you want to do this really quick, I'll show you how to do it step by step from the beginning, and then you can help her.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll put mine on the side then. All right.
All right.
Yeah. She started with 4 right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went upstairs and we were
I
starting
could tell she didn't have a center bead on hers. So starting with that 1 bead, first stitch is 1 bead, and then sometimes you can even just go back right through where you came out of, and then that bead will sit there.
Okay.
Okay, so you got one bead sewn down. So you start a new line. So by starting a new line, you stitch about a bead's width away from where you're coming out at. So then
Yep.
when you're coming up through the material, you're this far away. Okay, see
Okay.
that?
Yep.
So you pull that through. And then this is when you pick up your 4.
Okay, so when you're right here, then where the stitch should be at is when you
Yeah.
pick up the 4?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So you pick up 4.
Yep.
And then you're going to go directly across to stitch down on the other side of that bead. So if you imagine there's a straight line going straight across here,
Yep.
your stitch downwards is right here.
She was behind me. This one? Yeah.
See?
Remember when I said there's a Leela Belcourt in a 111? She lives right behind me.
So then now
What?
you have those 4 beads.
Honey.
Who is that?
Oh, she heard you. Oh, you heard me?
Yeah. Oh, I see you around here.
Right behind you. I live in 129, 110.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I didn't know.
That's crazy. We'll have to get our girls together. We see the girls running around too.
Yeah, yep. I have 4 kids. I have 13-year-old boy, and then my daughters will be 9 and 7, and then I have a 9-month-old boy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I seen it because I was like, went to go get the mail the other day, and there was the beads in here from NAC. And I
Yeah.
was Leela Belcourt. I'm like, do they have the wrong name on here? Because it said NAC on there too, and I'm like, huh, there must be somebody who lives behind me.
Well, there you go.
Small world.
That's cool. All right. Let's see. Girl, you make this look so easy.
It is. I mean, it is. It can be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a couple of stitches. But
Yeah.
this is just the basic technique I can show you. So like when you're applique stitching, so looking at it, so if you're looking at it like from this angle, from this, so this is like the material.
Right.
So then here's your knot. So when you're going up through the material, you pick up 4 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you stitch downwards. Right?
Oh, I want to screenshot that. Can I screenshot that? That's actually really good. She'd probably understand that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when then to secure the beads, you stitch backwards halfway between the 4. So you go back up through the material and then you go through the beads that way.
Oh, okay.
So that's the stitch. But it just, because we're going around in a circle, it's gonna look like this, where you're coming up here, you're picking up your 1, 2, 3, 4 beads, and then you're going down. See that straight line?
Yeah.
So you're picking up 1, 2, 3, 4 beads, and then you're going down through the material, and then you're going back to this side.
Okay.
And you're going up, then you're going through. Okay? So
Okay.
that's this. So you can kind of see it as like 4 points on a circle. You can use that as a clock. So like this is bead 1, 2, 3, 4. You go down. Then you come up halfway between 2 and 3.
Okay.
Then you go through 3 and 4. Then you pick up 5, 6, 7, 8. You pick up those other 4 beads, and then you're coming out here. So you actually have to stitch down through the material between 1 and 8. Okay.
That's actually really helpful, diagram.
Yeah, that is. That drawing helped out a lot.
Yeah.
Let me go for that help.
Yeah. Okay, good. So when you stitch down through the material, you have to, so then when you stitch down, you have to come back up, and then you come back up between 7 and 6.
Hey, why don't you go get some pants on? You look just
7
cold.
and 8.
Go get some pants on. Sorry, hold on. I got a parent for 2 minutes.
So when you come up through, you go through 7 and 8, these 2 beads, and then now you've had the circle. So to complete the circle, when you come out of 8, after you've stitched downwards and then come through these 2 beads, I go through 1 and 2 again and then go down, just to pull all those beads into a circle, right? But this is the basic applique stitch. If you're going in a circle, if you're going in a straight line, or if you're going zigzag, this is the basic stitch. Is you have your knot, you come up, you pick up those 4 beads, and then you stitch down through the material, then you go back halfway, and then you come up, and then you stitch through those last 2 beads you put on. This is the basic bead applique.
So that when you go down and then you come back up between those 2, and you come back over there where your arrow is that when you pick up more beads to put on, or do you go back down again, or?
Yep. So this would be, so then now you're picking up 4 more beads.
Ah.
And you're going down, back.
That is very helpful to me.
Half through. No, I'm not on mute, but you can come in if you want. My baby's in here now.
We made soup.
Oh, you made soup? Okay. I'll eat later. I'm not hungry.
Cabbage, cauliflower, zucchini,
Short ribs. Weas. Got the weas.
Cauliflower, zucchini.
So let me check to see if everyone's back on yet. I don't know if it's been 5 minutes.
Ooh, onion's good.
And then put a little bit of garlic in it. But it's, instead of clear, it's tomato sauce.
Ooh.
So it's red.
Right.
Is everyone back? I think everyone's back and ready to go.
Okay. So, should I do that first? Should I do that first thing again? Are you guys feel comfortable with it? And we can do the next row?
I don't hear any.
I'm still trying to take her beads out from when she messed up, kind of having.
It might be easy just to snip the thread and do it instead of trying to undo the stitches.
So just do what now? Sorry.
You can just snip the thread.
Oh, and then they'll all fall out?
Yeah. And
Bow
then
is on?
undo.
Okay. So just snip it in the back?
Yeah, just snip one of the threads and then
Okay.
one of the stitches, and you can pull the threads out or pull the beads off.
Well, don't you know I gotta make things difficult? Okay.
I usually do too, but I try to save myself.
Right, so I'm kind of like, oh, okay, well, just listen and take some advice, you know? All right. I know my mom's really good at beading. She goes, well, once you get started.
Yeah, and this is just one technique. There's so many beading techniques that you do. There's some double needle, and that's when you're actually using 2 separate needles and 2 separate threads. One thread holds all your beads, and then the other thread you use to tack it down. that to me, if I didn't learn on double needle, so it's kind of like trying to learn how to do the same thing. For me, I learned doing single needle, single thread. But yeah, there's a lot of different techniques out there that people use.
Yeah. We're trying to I started a project. She wanted my auntie was showing me on how to make moccasins.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like the beadwork started on that, but I just kind of got like it's busy, you know.
Yep.
So
oh, I know. I have plenty of half-baked projects.
what I really want to do is make earrings, and then I want to start making what are these called? The oh my gosh.
Can I grab the other one?
What is that called?
Letting that one charge.
Not the head, not the regalia, but the
No.
once I think about it, I'll tell you.
There's a red one and the.
Okay. So we're gonna.
Alright.
So are people ready? We're gonna start the next
So
row.
can't do this. Oh my goodness.
So this next row we're gonna do is the second row. So this is on the picture. I don't know if you can see it too good on the camera here, but it alternates between yellow and white. So whatever colors you're using, I'm gonna do red and blue here, just so you guys can see it better. So when you completed your first row, to start your second row, you just stitch outward so that you're about where your needle should come out is about right there. And there's nothing really fancy about the placement, just I usually will just stitch across right from where I came out at. See if you can see that. See where the needle's coming out, or the needle's going in and then that thread coming out. So I just stitch out like that.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay.
And then it's just alternating beads. So I'm gonna do red, blue, 4 beads. So then see how we were here? So this is where we're coming up at, right here. So we pick up those 4 beads and then we go down. So I have these 4 beads. And then you kind of push them into place. See, so when you put them on, you kind of push them into place right there. And exactly where they stop is where your needle goes down. Like that. You guys can see that? So right at the end of that blue bead is where you stitch down at. Boop. See that? So that's this.
Okay.
So when
Sorry,
you
I'm still trying to get her one bead on.
Okay. So then you go back halfway through those 4 beads here. So that's here. So this was your first, this is 1, 2, now 3 is halfway between those 2 points. Right here. You see that? So then you can always check that too. So when you pick your spot on the back from where you want your needle to go through, when it pops up on the other side, if the needle comes up and you're like right in between, like that's the sweet spot, you pull it through. So once you do that, you're here. So then you go through those last 2 beads you put on.
Hey, I'm gonna mute you.
So then you go, then you pick up those 2 beads, the red bead and the white blue bead. Then you pull it. Then you got 4. Okay, and then you do it again. You got red, blue, red, blue, blue. And I'm kind of picky with my beads. I like them right in between fat and skinny. There's a time and place for fat beads, and there's a time and place for skinny beads. So again, so you got those 4 beads on. You see exactly where the blue bead ends is where your stitch is. You guys can see that? And then you come down like that. Flip it over. This is where you started. This is where you're coming out. And then this is where you go through. Halfway between these 2 points on the curve. Okay? And that's here. Halfway between the 2 points, that's where you go up. And then so when you flip it, so when you push your needle through like this, when you look at it from this top angle, you can see your thread, your needle's coming up right between those 4. So there's 2 beads on each side. You know you're in the right spot. So you pull it through and then you stitch through those last 2 beads you put on. Like that. Okay, we're gonna do it again. You guys ready? We're gonna do it again. Ready? Pick up red, red, blue, red, blue. Pull them down like that. Then wrap them like that. Get them where you want them. Be careful not to crowd the beads. So I see, I don't know if you guys can see that, because see how I pulled it? See how those beads popped up? It's too tight. Don't do that. Let them chill where they're supposed to be. Like that. Then you stitch downwards where that blue bead ends. Then you flip it over. This is where you started. This is where you're at. So between those 2 points, halfway between the 2 points on the curve is where your stitch is. Then you can look on the other side. See how that looks kind of funny? I'm not in the right spot. So then I'm gonna fix it, correct it. Then you look at the other side. Now you're in a good spot. See that? Then you pull it through. And then you stitch through 2. Now we're almost done. Now we're almost done going around. Looks like there's like 1 more stitch of 4 beads to complete that circle. So we're gonna go ahead and pick up those 4 beads. We got red, blue, red, blue, that one. I like that one. Okay. Like that. So see how we're coming to end the circle? See how they kind of fit in there like that? That's what you want. So now we're coming back to the foot to the circle. So we're gonna stitch to where that, then we're gonna stitch down where that red bead. So this is the only difference when you're closing a circle is you want your circle, your beads to end where the circle began. So instead of hitting it where the hitting it and going down where the blue bead ends, we want to hit it where that red bead starts. Does that make sense? So we're gonna go ahead and pull this through and see. Those beads like it. See how they like being in that spot. So you go, this is where we started, this is where we ended. So it's halfway between those 2 points on the curve. So when you come up, you should be right there. So then you go through those last 2 beads you put on, same as this, except now that we're closing the circle, I go through those 2 beads and then I pick up the first 2 beads to end the circle, to complete the circle. It's like the circle of life, everybody. And then once you're coming out of those beads there, go back down. That's it. That's your 3rd row. Anybody have any questions? I'm gonna hold my breath until I hear from somebody. Just kidding. So that's the 3rd row. We can just keep going. So same stitch, same thing. Start a new row. I go to where I just shortest stitch possible, waste as least amount of thread as possible. I just stitch right next to it. You see that? Like that, like that, like that. And then pull it through, start a new line. Should look like that. Now, because we started with red and we alternated the blue, now the next row is all blue. See how this is white, alternated yellow, then the next row is all yellow. That's where we're at. So since I switched up the colors so you guys could see the beads better than using a light colored bead, I did red, then blue. So then my next one is all blue. So again, you pick up 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's a fat guy. 3, 4. 4 blue beads. Pull them down. Stitch where they end. Like that. This is where you started. This point right here. That's where we started. That's where we are coming out. So you go halfway between this point and that point on the curve. That's your stitch right there. And then you know it's right when you come across on the other side and your needle's coming up between those two beads, between the 4 beads. So there's 2 beads on each side. Got that? Looks good. Stitch 2. And just for information, it doesn't matter which direction you go. I usually go this way just because it's a muscle memory thing for me. I always go that way. But if you really want to like go the other way, go that way. You can. Counterclockwise. Like one of those, like some, you know, at the powwow, some of those dancers that dance the opposite direction, you can bead in the opposite direction too. Just kidding. So there's your first stitch of your next row. And so that's basically it. That's the whole thing. You just repeat that, those stitches like a bazillion times, and then you get this guy. How's everybody doing with this? Should I start over? I could start a new one and do all of the steps again, and then we can start over. I can keep going on this one. Oh, I forgot to pull up some flute music. Just a couple. Should you start around?
Can you start over, please?
Huh?
Can you
Start over?
Yeah.
Start over. All right. How's everybody? Do we get a democracy vote on starting over? Show you guys how to do it all over?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're getting a couple of yes start overs.
Okay.
1 second.
Hey.
So this is the way. If you do, like I start over on projects all the time. Sometimes I'll start something, I don't like it, I take it apart. This is the easiest way to take it apart. You grab a little scissor and you snip the threads. You don't have to snip every stitch, just snip a few of them.
Here.
And that frees up the beads. You can just pull the beads out.
You can do it.
No, I
You're
can't.
not gonna learn if I keep doing it for you.
And I'm not saying I have to do it.
Okay. Everybody
That's
knows
the quickest and easiest way to get all your beads out. Just snip the stitches in the back and pull out the beads. So starting again, make that knot again. One, two. I do at least 3. And then one thing, so since I've stitched this fabric a few times too, I want to make sure that it doesn't come out. So kind of tug. It's not coming out. So you just want to make sure, because sometimes your knots aren't big enough, and then when you go to stitch, you just pull right out. So you want to make sure, give it a good tug, that that's not going nowhere. So back to the beginning. We got our center bead. It's 1 bead. You pick it up, go up through, pick up a bead, go down. And start with a fat round bead. That guy's kind of fat. And then you stitch downwards like that. So this is your center bead, right in the middle. That's all it is. Just one stitch. And then now, kind of like how it was before, you, I wonder if this would help. Hold on a second. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. You guys see that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. With these 4 beads, 8 beads around. Okay. You guys follow along? So with these 4 points marked, we're going to go up through that first one. Doesn't matter which one, just pick one. So see where you're coming up next to that red bead, or whatever your center bead is, or whatever color you're using. Come up. So this is what your stitch looks like. You're coming from the center out to the first row here. So this is what we're doing here. This point is this point is this point. So you pick up your 4 beads, but because we're here, the point we come back is straight across that point. So this point is this point. So our next stitch straight across is this point. Okay, does that make sense? So we're coming up here. So this is what it looks like on the top. Straight across from this point to this point. After you pick up your 4 beads, you got 1, pick up 4, next point, that's that point. Okay. Oh, I didn't pick up the beads. I was too busy drawing circles. Rookie mistake. Just kidding. So if you do stitch through, sometimes if you're stitching this fabric, you have to, if you don't stitch it right, you can like split the material and then it doesn't come out. But sometimes if you do it right, see, doesn't do it right. Pull that out. What was it? Red, right? We're gonna do red. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Picked up 4, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going, so we started at this point. Now we're coming through this point. So this is it, and then going straight across to this one on this side. See how your needle's coming up there? That's it. See how now your beads are sitting like this? So now we go halfway between the 2 points on the curve. So that's here. Halfway between the 2 points on the curve. That's this guy down here. Everybody see that? So when you're on here, it's this guy right here. Stitch in that little point right there. Then you know you're in the right spot because when you come up, you're in between those 2 beads. See that? Pull through. Stitch through 2. So that's here. Stitch backwards halfway between the 2 points. Go up, stitch through those 2.
Can I ask a question? Some of my beads are like popping up and I mean, they go back into place, but is that fixable later or should I be fixing it now?
So sometimes when you get beads popping up, sometimes it could be because your stitches are too short. So what happens if your stitches are too short? Say you're coming up here and you got a fat bead and a fat bead, and then if your stitch is too short, what's going to make these beads do is sit like this because there's not enough room. So then you're going to get beads popping up.
Yeah, no, well, maybe, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So remember when I was doing that blue and red alternating row and I pulled it in too far and those beads popped up in the middle? That's another reason why bead pops up. If you're going around the center and your stitches are too close together, like your rows when they're sitting. See if I push in on this black row on the edge and see what happens to the row on the inside. See how these pop up like that? It's because they're too close together. There's not enough room. So when you're stitching it, this is something that comes with technique, and technique over time. You'll learn how to keep the stitches. See, yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, some of it, a couple of them are like coming up, but
so that would just be, I would say most likely that just means that your stitches are too close together, so your beads are too close. There's not enough room for your beads to sit flat.
Okay.
So when you flip it over, I don't know if you can see the stitches on here.
Oh, little. Okay.
So when you flip it over, it's easier to see because I was using that black thread earlier, but then I cut it out, so now I can't. Now I don't have
Yeah,
it.
yours looks a lot longer than mine.
Yeah. So if let me see if I can color these black so you can see. So when you get to these outer rows, you can see that these stitches, they don't, there's a lot of, they're evenly spaced around the center.
Mm-hmm.
So your stitches should look like that. So you can even see how like each stitch goes around the circle.
Yeah.
So sometimes so this is like this this is what your stitches should look like, so then your beads look like this. So whatever your stitches are doing is what your beads are going to be doing. So say like this stitch was, this like out of place here.
Yeah.
It didn't go this way.
It's kind of crooked.
If it didn't follow the curve and it went this way, like up and then back, your bead would be crooked. It would sit funny. Let me see if I have a project that so like this too. This is an applique stitch. So this is the same thing. And this is what it looks like when it's finished. So you have the backing, leather or any kind of other vinyl or whatever you back it with. But even sometimes, see these orange beads here, because they're square shaped, it's hard to get them to sit properly.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that you're leaving enough space for your beads to sit in.
Right.
You don't want to squish them, because otherwise that's how you get the beads popping up.
Okay. I mean, because they go right in place. Maybe I'll just rub some glue into it.
Yeah, or sometimes you can correct it with like the the subsequent rows. So like the more.
Okay,
rows
so loosen the next row.
Say what?
Like loosen it a little bit.
Yeah, just make room.
Okay.
Yeah. So kind of, you can see the spacing of this.
Mm-hmm.
See how much space there is between the rows?
Yeah, you have a lot more space than I do.
Yeah, so that's what's happening is your stitches are too close together, so your beads don't have enough room to be flat. Yeah.
Okay.
You got to let them chill, like they need their space.
Okay.
But that technique, that is like, that's a skill that you build up. So this is the basic technique. So as soon as you get this down, you get even get the muscle memory of doing this stitch in your head, and then like it's just like, this is a step by step process. Once you master this step by step process, all of those other techniques of not crowding beads and finding other ways to prevent that from happening, that all comes with time and practice and skill. So I wouldn't worry too much about bunching and stuff at this point, just because you're still learning the basic technique. But once you give this some practice,
yeah,
you'll be able to master it, and then you'll be knocking these out no problem.
Right. I gave up crocheting because my stitches were too close.
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to crochet too, and I would pull it too tight, and so then like I couldn't get the hook back through because the stitches were too tight. So I could only do like one row around, because you have to leave room so that you can stitch back. And that's the same thing here, is if your stitches are, if your rows are too bunched up on each other, then you can't, then the beads will start popping out, be all uneven. Not even, just kidding. Okay, so we'll go back to this. So once we get that part, we do 1, 2, 3, 4 beads again, or 3. Let's do 3.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So I'm having some problems here.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I go? Can I hit something?
Go in. Why don't you go get some water? So my knot, the string here is pulled through like that. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So I have 2. So there's where my knot is. It ends right here.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what I did.
How many beads do you have beads on the other side?
I have my 1 right here.
Okay, so pull that 1 bead so that the knot comes flush with the fabric. Pull that bead
out. Okay.
So that you're not. Because what happens with the knot, because if you have a tail here, so when you stitch your 1 bead down, sometimes when you grab it, you grab the needle and then you grab this thread with your knot on it, and then you pull them both.
Yeah.
And so then your knot ends up being pulled. So you end up pulling your thread and your needle. So then your knot isn't where it's supposed to be.
Okay.
So you can do that by pulling whatever stitches you just laid. In your case, it's the center bead. So pulling that center bead so that your knot goes back to where it's supposed to be, and then hold the bead with your thumb when you pull that slack out.
Oh, no. Okay. Let me do that. Try that again then. Because I got it out. It's not like that no more, but my knot's still there. So let me see.
Unless that bead is like moving around and stuff, you probably don't even have to worry about that knot.
Yeah, it was like moving all the way up towards my thread. Or my needle, I mean.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. If you have questions for her, I have her unmuted right now.
I have a question.
Hmm?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, you can ask me a question.
Do you need help with something right now?
No.
Are you sure? You were just getting frustrated at me. Ask her where, what you can do. Okay. Her bead keeps falling off and she keeps getting mad at me, like, so I'm trying to learn this way too, and then she's, yeah. So go ahead, tell her, ask her, what do you need help with, babe? Don't be bashful, she's here to help. That's why it's,
I never met her before.
hmm?
I never met her.
Well, now we met her, right? And she's nice.
So what bead keeps falling off?
Go ahead, Anna.
This bead. Oh no.
Well, show her what your show
So
her your patch and then explain what's going on.
so I got these ones done,
Mm-hmm.
but
You have your center bead
there's a certain bead that keeps on falling.
You gotta explain that a little bit.
I did.
What are you doing? How are you threading it?
I'm doing it how you're showing us, but it keeps on falling out.
Mm.
So maybe show her what you're doing. Hmm?
So is there one? Did you start with the first bead?
Yeah.
So then you go down and then you come back up.
That's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
But then I grab other beads and then the other bead keeps on falling.
Okay. Can you see what I'm doing right here? I'll show you. So see where I'm coming up? Now I'm going to pick up one bead. That's going to be my center bead, like what you have. And you're going to stitch it down and you're going to, so that it stays there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you have to do. So then when you're going to start a new row, you go up. Not where you came out at, but in a new spot next to it.
Oh. So do I have to restart?
You can restart, or you can just take your needle and go up through right next to that bead. See how mine looks right there? See how there's one bead right there?
Yeah.
So then when you come up right here, you're ready to put on your 4 beads.
Yeah, I have 2 beads on mine right now. Over my center bead.
You need 4. Pick up 2 more.
Mom just wants to make sure she's getting it right, so then I can explain it to you too, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's easier for you.
I'll take a picture of this paper that I wrote, and then I can send it to email it to the group. So
what's that? Sorry.
Reference later.
The picture.
Oh, the picture sheet. Yeah, I screenshot the picture for you, so it'd be easier for you to get. Okay. So all you do is once you go down,
4 beads.
Once we're here, then.
Mommy.
So what I'm telling her is like, so.
You know how I spell that?
Yeah.
I'm using my sippy bottle. I'm gonna go get my cat.
No, you don't need a sippy cup. No.
But then it won't fall. Do you have where's the purple balloon?
I don't know. I threw it away.
I know, like make a doll sippy bottle.
Okay, so I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I fixed it. So now all I do is just.
I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna practice beading on here.
Why don't you practice on here?
I'm practicing on here.
So then once I poke it through, I'm gonna have to poke through the needle, correct, or the bead again.
Which
right?
one?
The center one. I'm still on the center one.
Okay, yeah. No, leave the center one alone. Once you have the center one stitched down, you don't even mess with it anymore.
Okay, so I just go
you
through.
Just start a new line. Yep, next to it.
Okay. Okay.
So that's, yep.
I think that's where we messed up then, because I told her to, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. See how like on the picture, so this is your center bead. This center bead only has
The one.
once. Here's your knot. Pick up your center bead, then you go down, and then you go up next to it.
Okay.
So you don't have to go through this bead at all. You just leave it.
Okay.
Center. So when you come up next to it here, this point is this point on the 4. See how there's 8 beads around the center? That's these 8 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when I said to pick up 4 beads, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So then you go down through the material at this point in between bead 4 and 5. And then you stitch backwards to that point.
The 3 and 4.
Between 2 and 3.
Oh, 2 and 3.
So then you're
Okay,
coming
so
out here.
Okay.
Okay. So then it's the same principle.
Yep.
So this is bead 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you stitch downwards, right? So then you go back halfway through that point in between 2 and 3. And then you go through 3 and 4.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see if I can.
So you have like, so this is the center bead. This is just one. You just stitch it down once and you don't have to stitch it again. Then you go like right next door to it. So this is your center bead. These are those 2 points here holding the center bead down. Then you come up next to it. Or it would be whatever. But then you add your 4 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And go down, go back, go up, go through.
Oh
4,
no.
go down, go back, go up, go through.
My knot keeps getting.
My beads keep on falling.
Okay. So go right next door to it. Pull it through.
You're having both.
And then grab 4.
Oh. What did Jaren have to come here? Now when he gets back, he's gonna distract me. 'Cause he's loud.
No, he's. Well, let's enjoy the quietness we have there.
Yeah, but then they're gonna come back and be loud as ever.
All right, so I got my 4 now. Just
Yep.
let them fall.
Yep. So bring them down to the top or to the mat.
Yep.
So you got your 1, and then it's gonna look like this.
Looks like that.
Yep. So it's gonna look like this. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. So then you stitch down where those beads end. Looks like that.
How I keep on doing it because I think I messed up.
Do they have to be in a circle, or does it?
It's a half circle, but they
Okay,
pop
good.
up. They look like that. They're popped up off of the thing. They're popped up until you stitch them down with your next stitch.
Right, like that, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then I just go down.
Yep. See where the stitches are? Look. See, there's one stitch right there.
Yep.
So you go directly on the other side of that.
Oh, okay. Yep, I see. Oh, yeah, that's where that line comes, that imaginary line. All right.
You
There
can
it
always
is.
draw that line on there if you want, if it helps.
I'll use my imagination. All right, so we just do that.
Mom.
And then pull that
Oh.
through. You almost got it, babe.
Anyway,
Dude, you're close.
Keep on.
You're doing so good.
So once you do that,
And then
you stitch backwards halfway.
let through. Oh, I did it. Okay.
Great.
So like that?
Good for you.
Yep, it looks, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, so it should look like
I can't beat. I can show.
that.
And that's when you go halfway.
Yep.
Baby grandma, I'm gonna show you at our pace, okay? You can do this. You got this.
So stitching it through like that. Then you go through the two. So that's here. Pick up your 4 beads, go down, go back halfway, go up, go through.
So.
Like that.
God, what is this?
Okay.
I have to be so slow with this.
Oh no.
You pulled myself.
Okay, so
Like 20 times already. I wonder if I need one.
jeez, baby, got some okay good attitude right now. You're doing a good job.
Yeah, I'm doing a good job.
All right, so then I just pull it through like that now. Now that I poked it through, I have these two connected.
Yep.
Okay. I didn't, but I'm practicing.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
not
practicing.
practicing.
I know how to bead. I made a necklace. Now I don't know how to bead.
Oh, what in the world happened?
I'm doing it. Jeez. Too big to keep on falling.
What the heck?
I'm running out of block beads.
So how are people doing on this? Is everybody getting it?
I'm not. Am I muted or something?
Nowhere. You can hear everything. But I'm gonna mute it.
Why? I have to ask. She asked if everyone's doing okay. I have to say I'm not. I'm not. Dang it.
Yeah. Where are you stuck at?
The 2 beads keep on falling.
What 2 beads?
The 2, these 2.
Okay. So when you pick up beads, you're supposed to pick up 4, not 2.
But I have 2 on the other side.
On the other side of the material or on the other side of the center bead?
Of the material.
Oh. We're not supposed to have beads on both sides. So something went funny.
No, she's got beads here.
So
And then the back looks like this.
Oh, is it all knotted?
Yeah.
Okay. You might want to cut it and start over.
Do you need a break again? So you're not, because it's 1 second, I gotta
Okay.
talk to her really quick.
Do we need a little, like a 4-minute break, 4 or 5-minute break real quick?
Yeah. Yeah, if people want to check in, I don't know if I can't see anyone, so I don't know if anyone needs anything. Usually in person I can check your work and help you out if you get stuck, but doing it virtual, if I can't see you, I don't even know if are you even real? Just kidding.
With mine, I'm doing it. It was a little rough on the beginning, to get the center.
Where's yours? I'm trying to see it. Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
It was hard.
I'll
The
tell
center
you,
part was hard.
for
But then
myself,
once you get
I gave up with the circle and I had to just sew in something or to bead on something. So I just did like an edging and just did the
Oh
yeah, nice.
Like the standard stitch that you said right there with the diagram.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
that
just-
works.
Yeah.
So when you finish the circle, do you just make a you tie it in the back like how we started?
Yep. I can
Okay,
show
that's
you how to do an easy knot.
Okay. I think for my other one, I'll know how to start it now too, because it was a little rough in the middle in the circle. But then I think I know what you mean now, to start for the other one.
Yeah. So you can even just practice starting them.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't really have to measure it the way that you do when you get to the outer circles.
Mm-hmm.
You can just imagine that it's 4 points around a circle, and you go, and then this is the thing, you go up, add 4, go down, halfway, go up, go through. That's basically it.
Yep.
This is it. So this is go up, go down, halfway, go through. And this is, so then when you add 4 more beads, you go back to the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You go back halfway, that's this one. Go up, go through, and then go through. All 4 of them. Sometimes it's 7.
Maybe I'll start my other one.
Yeah.
Got the hang of the first one.
It's always learning something new, right? You learn, but once you get it, it's oh, I get it now. Like learning a new thing. It's always confusing until you get it. So I'll show you how to do knots so that they're right next to your material, so that you don't have knots that are hanging out and then you got your beads off to the side. So you basically wrap the thread around your fingers, make a loop like that. Make a loop, big loop. And then you pull it like this. But because you have a big loop, you hold on to the loop, like that loop you made.
Yep.
Then you pull the loop tight, like that. And then put your thumb or finger on it, hold it, and then you pull it tight.
Okay, that makes sense.
Show again. So yeah, so big loop, go through. So you have just like a shoelace knot. I don't know what the hell these are called. I mean, heck. So then you just keep that loop open, and then you pull it. So you pull on this and you pull on this at the same time, and then when you're ready to let it go, you pull that. So then your knot is flush to the fabric. And so your knot isn't like out here and then your beads are loose. So there's that. And then I'm wondering if let's do some stuff. This might help for the younger ones. Let's just draw a straight line across here. And you can just practice going straight instead of in a circle, because that might help with just getting the technique down. Start a new thread. Okay. So just if you want to just start something straight, you can start on the line right at the beginning. Pick up 4 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see how that looks. Then you stitch down. And since you have that line on the back, then you know where your needle's supposed to come out at. So that is this. If I can try to get it just so you can see it. It's so weird. Like there's a little bit of a lag in what my hands are doing to versus what's on the screen. So that 4 beads is this 4 beads. You see that? See how it goes up? 4 beads goes down. Halfway between those 2 lines, or those 2 points on the line, go back up.
Oh, I get it.
So now you're coming up midway between those 4 beads. It's blurry like that. Pull, stitch, go through. That. So there's 1 stitch. So now you pick up 4 more. We'll do red this time. 1, 2, 3, 4.
How's that look? Sorry.
Good.
Okay.
You got it.
I'm just trying to, I just want to get it right. I want to make sure I get it right so I can explain it to her. She's just.
Yeah.
She
might
frustrated.
Might be too hard for her just to kind of like conceptualize.
Yeah.
Like what the beads should be doing. But maybe if you want to start her just like sewing straight lines, kind of like with what I got here, because you can draw the line on the back and then she can stitch. So then she knows where the stitches go.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So
maybe we'll
you
try
just
that then.
have her practice, because that's all it is just these 4 beads. Come up, pick up 4 beads, go down, go back halfway, go up, go through.
Yep.
So that's basically it.
Okay. Yeah, she'll probably, that straight line will be easier for her then.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
there's not, I mean, it's easy, but like, you know, there's not a ton of stuff you can make with a straight line unless you're gonna, like, I don't know what you're gonna do with it. Unless it's just for practice. But then there's nothing wrong with just, you know, doing something like this for practice. And then, you know, if you don't like it, you can always cut it out, start over, try again, do something else, try different patterns. You can make it look like loom work.
There you go.
So you could do some loom patterns. Like this is a pretty cute loom. This is super advanced loom work though. If you haven't done any loom work yet, don't start with one of these. But yeah, so this is a barrette. My daughter used to wear this when she danced.
Pretty.
Yeah, so like, I mean, so you could do just, because they're just kind of like straight lines of beads. So you could do like a fun little pattern in there, and you know, you can mess around. But this is basically the applique stitch, is just these few steps of going up, adding 4 beads, going down, going back halfway, going up, going through. That's basically it. It's just kind of this stitch of like setting beads down.
Okay.
So this is the stitch, and then everything that comes with it is all skill building and comes with practice and learning.
Yeah.
I'll show you one thing. So this is applique stitch. This is something I started a long time ago, but this is something where this is just this. There's nothing else fancy happening here. So if you turn it over and you look at my stitches, see all the knots and stuff, but you can see, you can kind of see where those, because that's this line here, that's your stitch. So when you're looking at the back and you see these little stitches, kind of like how I showed you on the on this guy. See these back stitches? These back stitches here that I colored black, these are all of these. So if you're going around in a circle, your stitches will go around in a circle. If you're stitching and you're going around, trying to find if I have something that's not done.
She's getting frustrated. She's trying to take a break. And she's telling me that she can do sorry, I'm talking to
okay, that's
my
okay.
other half over here. She just told her that she could draw a line and then practice in the loom work.
So
but
like
she's getting frustrated.
This is a Coach purse. I was gonna make a Coach coin purse, but then I did all of this work and then I never finished it. But you can see on the inside, filling in that black background, all of these stitches are these threads here on the stitch, going down, going up, going through, going down, going up, going through. So every stitch here is stitching down a bead. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that helpful? Or am I just confusing?
No, it helps.
Okay.
It's good.
Because if you're, well, here's another one. So I did this brewer's medallion, and then I finished it, but I didn't like it, the edge of it, so I took it apart. So you can see how the stitches go around the baseball part. See how the beads are going in and going around?
Yeah.
Your stitches should also go that way.
Oh, okay.
Stitches are off. Your beads are going to be off. Okay?
Okay.
So that's the same thing here with these rosettes, these round beads, this round beadwork. If it's round, your stitches should go round. If it's straight, your stitches will be straight. Right?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when you're all done with it, do you just take a regular scissors and cut around it?
Yep.
Okay.
So once you're done, there's a few things you can do with like cutting it out.
Okay.
For me, I don't like having any of the material showing on the outside, but
Yeah.
that's one thing about cutting it that close. You have to be very careful not to cut your stitches, otherwise you have to go back and fix it.
Yeah.
I have this Ginger. This is a leather scissor that I use for material and leather only. This is super sharp, and that's how I can get really close without like hurting myself. But you can use other scissors. Just make sure that they're sharp. There's nothing worse than like a dull scissor trying to cut material. You end up like with frayed edges, and then it doesn't look very good because it's not sharp.
Okay.
So yeah, you just cut around it. So I can demonstrate on this guy now that we're here. You can leave yourself some room so that when you are ready to sew it to something or sew it closed or an edge, you can have something to sew it to. So this one is already finished. I can pull.
Are you gonna show us edging or record it or send it out to us maybe, or?
Yeah, I could record it and then send it.
That'd be awesome.
I could edge this really quick and show you how to do it.
Okay, perfect.
So this is like a leather backing. You can use any material that you have to back it with. And then I use to put these together, you can glue them. I use this rubber cement stuff. This stuff is really good. You can get it at like grocery stores. They sell it in the school aisle at Cub Foods, and that's like a really super random place where they always have it. Sometimes hobby and craft stores, they used to run out of it, but it's always at Cub for some reason. Or Target. So I'll take, let's see. So I'll cut this one. And then for edging is double thread. So that one. And because it's double thread, you only need to do one knot, unless you like big fat knots that you can see. So we'll do like that. And I think I'll edge this guy in black. So when you start edging, you can just pick a spot. I like to do the corner sometimes. Can you guys see that? Depending on the needle and the material, I don't know if I can get the thing through here. Hold on a second. I got this thimble I made out of leather. It's all chewed up. But this saves my finger from getting messed up. You can kind of see I don't know if you can see what my finger looks like, but but like there's always like new skin growing because of the back of the needle always like chews up my finger. So starting here, you can kind of see that. Push the needle through. Let's see how so then you have the knot there, like that. So there's a few different types of edge. You can kind of see on this one, see how it's, there's 1 stitch, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beads. So they actually picked up 5 beads to do this first stitch. This one is 3 beads. There's 1, 2, 3. So every stitch has 3 beads, 2 beads on it. What's this one? This one's 4. So there's 1 bead down, 2 beads up, 1 bead down. That's 4. The first stitch is 4, and then every stitch after that is 3. I'll show you that though. So you can decide what you want what you want the edge to look like. Let's do 3. I like 3. So you got your 3 beads on there. So you see where you're coming out on the top. I usually use the beads around the side for markers. I don't know if you can see that. See how like it's 1, 2 beads right there. It's hard to see because they're black, but when you stitch, this wouldn't be for you guys, but because this is hard. I should do this off camera. Just kidding. So it's gonna be good like that. So see how that looks? You can see your stitches. See where this is the first stitch. This is the second stitch. So we picked up those 3 beads, did the second stitch. I'm gonna push it through. It's a little bit tough. So this is like when you're doing leather work, when you use your needle nose pliers. The thing with needle nose pliers is it's very easy to break your needle when you're using them. So the correct way, or the best way to, when you're using your needle nose pliers, if you have to, is to grab the needle like right at the base and then tug it once in the direction of where you're going, and that's it. Sometimes I see people grab the needle here. What happens is creates tension here, and then it'll snap in half. So when you're doing your using your needle nose pliers to pull the needle through, you have to grab the needle right at where it goes in. Let's turn this off. Okay. So see, so this is another way that you can do it. See how these 3 beads are just kind of wrapped around the edge? That's another one. So then, so this is, you could just leave this here, pick up 3 more beads and then keep going. And then you'd have kind of like this scalloped wrapped edge of beads. But if you want it to pop up like these ones, you go up through that bead like that. You see that? You go back up through there. So then you can see kind of how that bead, how those beads will start to pop up off of the edge. You can't ever really tell with the first one. You can tell more with when you start doing the next few. So after the first one is 3 beads, and then every stitch after that is just 2, because your 3rd bead is already there. So you're using this bead twice. So this is 1, 2, 3. So you only add 2 after you did the first one. And then when you're doing your edging, you want to make sure that your edges, that your stitches are evenly spaced apart and then evenly spaced from the edge. So I'll show you that. So that's our first one. This is our second one. Now this is our third one. And see how they're evenly spaced apart? And then they're not too deep and they're not too shallow from the edge. I'm gonna pull this through, see if I can get it without the needle nose pliers. So see, those beads, those stitches are even. So then you go up through that third bead, or that last bead, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Second bead, third bead, last bead. So now you can see how that one, it like sits on top of 2 in between. So that's it, that's the edge. So that's true. So this stitch is how all of these are done, no matter what. So the only difference between these is like you can see how far apart those stitches are. That's because there's 2 beads on top. So your stitches are going to be further apart. This is 5 or 3 stitches, 3 beads. So the stitches are even further apart. So it just depends on like what you want your edge to look like. This is 1 bead on top of 2. So you can kind of see the less beads you use, the closer your stitches have to be. So it just all depends on the look you want. What you want it to look like. This one is super fancy, this edge. See, you can see how closely the stitches are together, and this is just a wrap stitch, but I didn't make this, but what she did was pick up different color to make this like ribbon effect around the edge. So this is 1 row. So you see like every row she did, like this is black, all black, but then it's like black, black, blue, black, black, blue, blue, black, blue, white. See that? So this is super like intricate and advanced. Like even I'm not that crazy. I'm a little crazy, but I'm not this crazy. Just kidding. So yeah, so that's the edge. And then once you stitch all the way around, then you get back to the beginning. And then so say this is the last stitch, say you're coming up here, and then now this guy, and you have your last stitch in, you go through, you pick up 1 bead, so then you'll have 1 bead down, 1 bead up, and then that is your bead, next bead down. So then you go down through that bead. It'd be hard to show you without, maybe I could draw it. So it'd be like that. So you got that. This bead lays down, this one sits up, this one lays down. So you got it like that, right? Does that make sense? So when you're coming back, you got this bead down, this bead up, but then this bead that's down is coming off of this stitch. So then this is your last gap. So this is where you started. This is where you're ending. So you pick up only 1 bead to bridge the gap between these 2. And then you go down through that bead. and then you have to stitch back through the material. So you have to come from the front to the back so you can tie a knot. Does that make sense? I had a frog in my throat. So when you're coming up and say you're back here and you're doing this one, picking up one bead and you're coming back down and you're finishing it off, you come through that one. But because you're coming from the front, you have to kind of go to the back to get it to stitch. So that's it. But that's only if you're doing this like fancy, this I don't know if it's even fancy, but that's if you're doing this stitch. Like if you're edging other ones and you're just like picking up 1 or 2 or 3 beads and you're just going in, stitching, picking up 1, 2, 3. So you don't have to have that end. Then you don't have to go through the beads again to have them do this 1 on top of 2. But I go on like Pinterest and stuff and like go on to like even Google Images. You can always search like native beadwork edging techniques, whatever, and then then you can look up stuff and different things. So it's like 1 minute to 4.
I've got one more question. So I can tell my thread is getting too short. What am I supposed to do to like, do I have to like tie a knot and just start randomly again? Or is there something special to do if I need to re-thread my needle since it's getting too short to keep going around?
Yeah, no, yep, you're right the first time. Just tie a knot off, like how I showed you before.
Yeah.
Tie a knot and then start a new line.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. So again, with like this rosette, you can make it as many rows as you want. If you want it to be small, you know, just do a few rows. You know, you can stop at the orange, you can stop at the red, you don't have to make it this big for whatever like reason whatever you're making. And you could even change the colors. It doesn't have to be exactly like this, but I just wanted to give you an idea of like what this looks like and how to get it started. The thing, so this is the same stitch that 4 beads stitch that I was telling you about, only this instead of going around in a circle, you're actually gonna follow like a flower pattern. So like you could draw a flower on the back of here. Whoops, keep doing that. I get all excited when I It's so weird. I never use black thread unless I'm like doing like a black background with black beads. So I'm like, oh, it's kind of fun using black. Come on. Make it hard on myself. So if you're gonna do like a flower, same 4 beads. And then see where we're at. Let's see. So go over here. Like that. So you see where I'm coming up right there? So it's kind of, it's on the line. So it's the same for 4 beads. Then you pick up 4 more. So I know like the general vicinity where I'm going. So then so this is kind of that, what I was telling you about before with the straight line. See, if you do if you're doing a straight line with beads, your threads are straight. If you're gonna outline a flower, your stitches should be on the line, outlining that flower. So you get like a rounded, this round line of beads. So this is this. So you could draw this flower, and then using that this basic stitch of 4 beads, you can outline that flower and then fill it in. Or you can stitch around a bunch of times in a circle and make one of these. So you virtually, like as soon as you master this 4 beads, pick up, go up, 4 beads, go down, go back, go up, go through, 4 beads, go down, go back, go up, go through, 4 beads, go down, go up, go back, to go through. As soon as you master this, you can make anything. You can make rosettes, you can make flowers, you can make these kind of flowers. If you can draw it, you can bead it. You can make these. I'm making this. So if you can draw it, you can bead it. This is all the same thing. See the stitches, see how the stitches go up and down like that? The beads are going up and down. It's kind of a bad example because there's a whole bunch of stitches here because of the letters. Basically like 1 bead at a time, and it was kind of tough. So this is like this is not a beginner. But yeah,
That's beautiful.
Thanks. My cousin commissioned this from me. Otherwise, I wouldn't even mess around.
Shouldn't have done the challenge.
Deanna.
One you did, Mom. One you did.
So these are those earrings I showed you before.
Oh, those are pretty.
These earrings are the same as this.
What?
Yeah.
What?
These are beads.
What?
Circle rows of beads. It's the same thing.
I know.
So if you can master this, this one, you can make this. You can make that, and you can make that.
See?
You can make these.
Oh,
look at those magazines. Aren't those pretty?
What?
So basically, the option, the
Made that. I wonder if that's gonna be like an even or something.
there's this one.
Are you gonna make that eagle one a earring?
This was supposed to be a cell phone case, and that'll tell you how long ago I started this, and I never finished it. That was when cell phones were like that size, and they flipped in half, folded in half, and they fit into a little pocket.
A long time ago.
On top of the pocket, but I never finished it, so I don't know what it's gonna be. I made this when I was in the 8th grade.
Wow.
I was super into Looney Tunes. I mean, I guess I still am, but this was my first project that I did using these really tiny beads. These are size 13s.
Look.
But this stitch, this is all this. If you can learn how to do this and then you can master this technique, you can make anything. You can make flowers. Did these flowers?
Make grandma something. Make something for grandma.
Here's another pair of, oops. It's another pair of earrings that I made.
Whoa. How'd you get that purple to start shining?
I think I'm messing up.
Which purple?
The purple in the middle.
Oh, it's a little gem. It's a little stone.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. So then these are little rhinestones. You can buy. You can buy this rhinestone banding, it's called. So it comes like on a chain like this. So if you want the bling, if you want that powwow, if you want the powwow bling, you can sew it to the edge of your stuff.
Oh, nah.
You can put it like how I put it here. You can put it in the middle.
Oh.
But this beading is the same,
bling.
all of these rosettes. So if you can do this, you can make anything. It's the same as the beading that's on the background here. Just beading around a circle and then filling it in. So I'll take a picture of this and then we can send it out if that helps. You know, practicing, you know, even practicing just drawing a straight line and then practicing this. And then you can go back and try to fix and then try to do the circle again.
I sent her video.
Deanna, if you send that to me, I can send it out when I send out the recording.
For sure.
Yep. And I think we're gonna start wrapping it up here.
Yeah.
I hate to be the party pooper here, but it's already 11 minutes after, and this is going to be a pretty long recording, so it'll take us a couple hours today, so we'll try to get it out on Monday to everyone. If that's, I'm sorry about that, but it's just it takes a long time to download. And then I'll send out that that printout that Deanna will send me as well. I hope everyone had a really good time, and I loved having the kids here. That was really awesome.
Yep. And then yeah, if you have questions or need anything, you can email and then or I don't know, email Isabel and then we can try to figure out how to get that going or how to, you know, try to help you virtually even after we're not in a class.
Okay. Well, Miigwech, thank you. It was a lot of fun.
I had fun. This was fun.